Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and we got a lot to talk about. Figured I would do a rundown of some of the stories out there that I haven't covered over the week, and we'll do an Ask Me Anything. So make sure to get your questions in there. We're going to focus on Navy lasers, Google Drive now deleting personal files that have been flagged as harmful content. You know what I don't know that Google Drive is deleting? Child porn. It's weird. It's weird how that can get by and other things can get by. But certain documentary films that have been flagged are now being taken out of people's personal collections. We're going to talk about corrupt and false models that are trying to sway public opinion, but really pre-program them into accepting lies and what appears to be an ever more rigged election. So I just want to remind everybody we are 110% demonetized on this very platform on YouTube. We've been waiting now almost 2 weeks for some kind of a response, but then again, they didn't tell me what my harmful content was to begin with. I've never had a strike, content or otherwise. Doesn't really matter. So if you can support me, $5, $10, $15 means the world to me. Big donations also. And remember, we'll use this as a super chat mechanism. So even before we get into the stories today, before we go to the Navy shooting frickin' lasers, I want to thank Rob Ramey, who says, be careful on the road. Keep those eyes wide open. Stay aware. We're going to keep very, very aware on the road. Thank you very much, Rob, for that. Mark Johnson, it's hopeful to hear truth and see transparency on your videos. You can tell you lead from the heart. So important. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. Yes, I am putting out information I think is relevant and true. I'm not here to be a huckster or a keyboard cowboy. Bart Cebulski says, great work. All the best from Germany. Thank you, Bart. Really appreciate that. MC, keep up the great work, Jason, and good luck on your planned move. Well, we got to do a planned move around the country before we can decide where all that freedom is, right? Where the economic impact of what they are calling a global economic depression, the first one of our lifetimes. The first one in generations, a global, it might be the first time ever. Okay, because normally it would be nation states against one another. Okay, Kovacs, appreciate your opinion. Wishing the best on your move. Looking forward to seeing your new home base. I can't wait to make a home base outside of New York and its track trace army. So let's get to the Navy, guys, and then get your questions in right now, because if you don't, we won't be able to go to them. Pretty crazy to me. 3 minutes in, 54,000 subscribers, not one comment in the chat, and only 25 people watching. Thanks, YouTube. Thanks for burying me in the algorithm, for for daring to cover what the mainstream media is allowed to cover, but in their own spinny way. Incredible moment. U.S. Navy uses new high-energy laser weapon to shoot down drone for the first ever at-sea test. And it's got this crazy red infrared banging. Oh, it's going to shoot it down. Guys, first of all, can you imagine how many times they tested something like this in the past before it worked like this? And how many times it worked like this before they were publicly putting it out that they have laser beams? This is old technology. It's old technology. This is not new sauce. This is old sauce. This is what they let you see. And there is so much going on behind the scenes at these black sites, at these classified DARPA-like facilities, that you can't even imagine the technology not only our government, but other governments around the world possess and classify. That's the truth. All right? The idea that this laser weapon that we're now seeing for the first time, is brand spanking new, it's laughable. It's laughable. Go look into the Department of Energy. Go look into what Area 51 was really all about and how it came off the cusps of our nuclear program, the nuclear bomb project, the Manhattan Project, which was also so compartmentalized, the vast majority of those that were working on it had no idea what the hell they were even working on. So Navy lasers, there they are. I want to talk about this first ever economic global depression, if you will. I talked about it a little bit on my walk and talk earlier, but let's dive a little deeper into this thing. As I said before, it doesn't benefit any nation state. It benefits the predator class. And what you're looking at here is a line of people going for food in New York City. Okay? That's in Brooklyn. People don't have food. And that's why when I talked about this in the very beginning, again, very happy that the at least military aspect was not as terrible as I thought it would be. But virus is very real. The repercussions are very real. Never said I was for the lockdown. Always said the solution would be worse than the problem, and it is. And that's why I called it, 1929 meets 9/11, and constantly 9/11 is being invoked in this thing, right? The New York Post writer that just did an op-ed saying it's time for the city to unlock or it will never come back, was just on Tucker Carlson comparing it to 9/11 and how even after 9/11, the city was still thriving in most areas. And it's just not that way anymore, even with all the fear. And while that fear has taken hold, remember, our leaders are constantly moving the goalpost and putting things into legislation so that they can use it later on and that it will never be reversed. We've discussed this with Cuomo in the very beginning when these disaster relief acts were being passed. He was putting things like cyber crimes in there. He was putting things like natural disasters in there. Why? So they can maintain control afterwards. And with this green light law amendment, officers can now be charged with a felony for basically trying to identify an illegal alien, right? And this isn't just statewide, although it's a statewide bill. It also affects police officers in other states that would pull somebody over with a New York plate that also happen to be illegals. Because again, in New York, they just give you a license. All right? Let's just play it.
All right, thank you, Adam. All new here tonight at 5 o'clock. A fresh debate now brewing surrounding New York's controversial green light law. Tonight, our Hannah Buehler is breaking down a new amendment to that law.
They basically criminalize police work in this budget.
I just think it's wrong to put the lives and rights of illegal immigrants over law enforcement.
It's a change made to the green light law that allows undocumented immigrants the ability to get a New York State driver's license. The original law prohibited the sharing of DMV information to any federal agency in charge of immigration. Now an amendment has been made, making it a felony for those officers to share that information with DHS or ICE.
So let's look at that. We're giving away licenses. We're making it a felony for officers to then identify people that may be illegal and share that with the Department of Homeland Security or ICE for any reason. Does that sound like a law that you want in this country? And yet it's done in the wake of darkness when people are not paying attention. And they, this is from the 22nd. I think they passed this on the 20th. People had no idea this was going into play. But then again, you look at the UBI, the universal basic income I've talked about, and we're not talking about for, United States residents. What are we talking about? We're talking about we're not talking about U.S. citizens. We're talking about United States residents. Sorry, I misspoke. So anybody that lives here is just going to get money for doing nothing and not even being a citizen of this country. They want everybody here voting so they can commit fraud. They want to give more money away so that they can gut people that understand that in order to have a system that works for the people, you need a middle class that's thriving. You need people to open small businesses. You need people outside of the corporate megastructures, the technopoly that's being built, if you want personal freedoms. That's just if. Okay, guys? So let's continue on with this piece.
Border Patrol working, in the dark, in the middle of the night on a highway, pulls over a vehicle. They can't run the plate to determine who the registered owner of the vehicle is.
U.S. Attorney for the Western District of New York, J.P. Kennedy, has some serious concerns about this. He says it not only impacts safety and security in Western New York, but nationally as well.
If a law enforcement officer in Texas ran across a New York State registered vehicle, they could not run that plate if it was any officer who was involved in the enforcement of immigration laws.
Kennedy says this amendment to the green light law was done silently amidst a global pandemic slipped in the 2020 budget.
Forces one branch of law enforcement to obstruct the mission of another branch of law enforcement.
This is shocking. This is unheard of, and especially during such a pandemic.
Erie County Clerk Mickey Kearns, who has been at the forefront of the green light law debate, is calling for an immediate repeal of this law and change.
Someone at such a high level who's under so much pressure, the governor, thought about that, to put that in there. We just had, I think it's approximately 29 people of our law enforcement people in the state of New York that just died from COVID. And they're criminals now?
And we did reach out to the governor's office for a comment today, but have not heard back.
No comment. Why would they comment on that? I mean, Cuomo, whenever he doesn't want to comment on something, he just doesn't. He just, pushes it to the side. He's like, oh, if I'm not being sued for something, I'm doing it wrong. Again, he's cool, calm, and collected. And, he's got a sense of humor. So most people think everything that comes out of his mouth must be just great. No, it's not great. These things are being passed in darkness. And as this goes on, I tend to agree with this. Your child's education, as long as you're involved, is going to continue one way or another. Whether or not the homeschooling and the Zoom meetings are working out, if you're taking an active part in your child's life, you should be able to educate them in a manner that you see fit as a parent, right? But their mental health, that's one thing, the girls, I'm hoping that my sister and the two kids obviously follow me out to wherever I choose to go, guys. We'll see what happens. I can't guarantee things, but I'll tell you what, the kids are a lot more receptive now that they realize that they're not going to be going to school in the fall, that Cuomo is going to close them out, and the same thing is going to happen. They long for human connection, just like I long for human connection. And to have them, glued to a screen the better part of a day, whether it be a small one, a tablet, a big one, is not a healthy thing mentally. Remember, guys, we're going to do the questions. This isn't Ask Me Anything. Get your questions in now. Doesn't look like a lot of people are active in the chat. Just so get them in now, and maybe we'll actually finish this one in the Ask Me Anything. We'll go through them all. I thought this story was interesting, that Canadian scientists are testing whether compounds in marijuana can prevent coronavirus from hijacking human cells, right? Now, they're going with strains that are high in CBD. We're talking about concentrated cannabis, not just smoking it, etc. But remember, like 4 or 5 weeks back, how they were saying that if you were a weed smoker, you may be more susceptible to coronavirus? I tend to think that there's a lot of evidence out there that concentrated THC and concentrated CBD, cannabinoids in general, have positive effects on health. And, you could talk about Rick Simpson oil. You could talk about CBD oil as a treatment for those that have seizures, etc., anxiety, all these things. And you've seen positive effects. Yet, it still isn't the norm to prescribe those things for the majority of ailments that they may indeed help. Why? Come on, big pharma. But in a state like New York, if you want to get a medical marijuana license, it's a $10,000 non-refundable fee and $250,000 up front. Or I'm sorry, $10,000 that is, it's either 10 or 15 that is refundable, and then $250,000 that's not refundable. Man, I'm screwing it up again. 10 or 15,000 non-refundable. So in other words, you put that in. If you get it, you get it. But you have to have 250,000 capital. If you get denied, you get the $250,000 back. If you actually get approved, it's $250,000 out of your pocket. Plus, think about that. Just to start a business like that with medical marijuana, even though it's decriminalized, it's not fully legal here. $250,000 in. So now let's talk about some of the corrupt models and the nonsense that's out there. Trump to lose 2020 election in a landslide defeat, model predicts. Come on. Anytime I see something like this, you almost root for the guy. And I'm not a Trump guy. I'm not a MAGA guy. I think there's huge problems with him and his administration. You know, Bill Barr's not your friend. Mike Pompeo's not your friend. Jim Mattis, who was in there, he's never your friend. Okay? Bolton, who was in there, never your friend. Gina Haspel, not a great person. Rick Grinnell, currently going after Julian Assange, trying to eviscerate the First Amendment in this country and across the globe, trying to quelch dissent. But to think that Trump is going to lose to Joe Biden is laughable. It's a slap in your face that they're even running Joe Biden. We did a Joe Biden video yesterday. I want people to check that out, but that's the truth. So let's continue on here. X this out. In the world of creepiness, we now have a mouse embryo that's 4% human, the highest level of human cells in an animal yet. That's a lie, by the way. That's just publicly. But this is in the United States. Okay? They're doing this at the University of New York at Buffalo. All right? So more and more and more, you're going to see chimera-type experimentation come into the norm. As the transhumanist agendas out there progress, and it's not just you can identify as a 1 or a 0 or as a binary or as a giraffe or I'm this or that, you'll be able to identify whatever you want into a genetically modified creature and upload your consciousness to the cloud, right? That's what you'll be. You won't be you. That's all bullshit. No matter how much they tell you they're going to be able to clone your mind and upload your conscience in some type of a singularity, that's nonsense. And remember, this transhumanism is talking about merging with AI, things like Neuralink. Oh, I should have a chip threaded into my brain with a Bluetooth device behind my ear and my skull, right? So I can interact with computers. That's just such an awesome idea. What could ever go wrong? Well, I mean, they tried to get you to go on the cloud, remember? All this cloud computing, and that'll be part of 5G, etc. And now Google Drive has taken down somebody's personal copy of Plandemic. So again, it wasn't being shared against copyright. It wasn't like they were using this. Now Google's just deciding what they're going to delete from your private files. That seems legitimate. That seems okay. But so many people have said, oh, wow, a Chromebook, it's $120. No hard drive space, nothing personalized. And it's not like anything with an internet connection, they can't get access to your files. But it's going to look a lot more suspicious if, you know, you're on a copy of Windows and all of a sudden your files are deleted. But that's where we're headed, right? Because Google Drive is really part of a Chrome OS. And when you look at Chrome OS, it's really just an extension of Android, right? Android operating system. And they're all owned by Google, which isn't really a corporation or a company. It's a pseudo-government agency and a part of the predator classes technopoly that works with other government agencies and nation states around the world, not only in technology, but the oppression of human beings. All right. With that being said, guys, thumbs the video up, subscribe, and share. Remember, the GoFundMe is going to act as a super chat mechanism. Anybody that donates and then puts it in, we'll be checking that periodically. Let's see what we got for questions and comments. Only 100 people watching after almost 20 minutes. That is 1/540th of my subscription audience. Thanks, YouTube. You rock. What a great platform, huh? That's why I got the Rockfin, guys. Check out South Florida. East and West Coast are out of my gates. We're not doing it. We're not doing any of that stuff. The laser is nothing new. No, it is not. Derek Slate, hiya. Wait until you find out about the satellite laser. Star Wars, anybody? I've been up since 1 a.m. That's great, Derek. Good for you, brother. Quantum access tech. All this stuff. Okay. Let's see what we got here. They have been openly bragging about these lasers for years. You keep saying the virus is real, but the narrative is falling apart daily. The virus is real, Justin. I don't know what narrative we're talking about or narrative you think I pushed other than the virus is real. Very real. And again, biologically engineered with an HIV sequence inserted into it. According to two big studies, Lancet and an Indian study, and a Nobel Prize winner from 2008 saying the same thing. And even on the, outskirts of the right-wing media, you're allowed to say it escaped from a bio lab as long as you say it's not a bioweapon and as long as you blame China. So yes, the virus, very real. Let's just make sure everybody understands that. Maybe I got to put it on live chat. Maybe I guess that gave it a little bit of a push, but really not much. Okay, let's see. I'm just wondering how everyone is preparing for the second wave. Like, I don't know what that means. These black box programs, chemicals, AI, not into the transhumanism. How does watching YouTube change the problem? Who said watching YouTube changed the problem? YouTube is just a way to convey information, just like television is just a way to convey information, or radio was just a way to convey information. YouTube was a powerful tool when it didn't throttle and censor independent media, and it allowed it to thrive. That way you can show people documents, you can go through articles like I just did, and have an open discussion with your audience in real time. That's how. Come see me in Seattle. Not going to Washington State, Brian. A little too West Coast. Jason, have you seen my face mask in the car parody video? No, I have not. Dabs. I thought marijuana made it worse. We covered that, remember? That was something we did cover here. I'm here to tell you weed works. Marijuana is such a powerful healer. Wise medicine plant. Jason, please watch this. I think you'll love it. Oh, is that the care thing? How about Kaylee? I don't know who's Kaylee. What are we talking about? Marijuana is the N-word for weed. It's cannabis. Thanks, Tex. I'm inoculating myself with coronavirus right now. I have no idea what that means. Me too. 2. Upvote, y'all. Burmese Brigade. Sorry. Oh, there's a little bit of a jump, not much. Jason, I had to look for you on your channel. No notification. It's not even 9 a.m. on a Sunday. Oh, that's true. But here in New York, it's 11:40 a.m. 41 a.m. And plus, although I have a big audience in the United States, I got an international audience too. I go live at like 2 in the morning sometimes and hit a few hundred viewers. I'm just saying. I get it's a Sunday, but isn't every day kind of meshing together for the vast majority of us? YouTube can already delete your downloaded videos on your phone. Trump needs to put Mikovits in the mainstream media's sites. Yeah, Trump's not going to do that. Don't worry. That's not going to be a Trump move. And that's it. We're down to the bottom. Where I am. The virus doesn't kill you. It's your immune system's overreaction to the virus that kills you. Yes, the cytokine storm. Thanks so much for keeping us truly informed. Much respect for your strength and courage. It means you were smoking the devil's lettuce. Oh, the devil's lettuce. Love your walk and talks. Thank you, Jose. I appreciate that. Or dabbing on the devil's streets. Don't think we hit any kind of super chat action. This looks like it's going to be a short one, guys. Good luck finding a new home. Looking forward to see your videos and your travels. Yeah, I'm looking for other states for sure. So, guys, I guess thumbs this video up, subscribe, share. Remember, the only way that I'm doing it is through the GoFundMe. $5, $10, $15. Big donors means the world to me. Please check out my films, especially Shade the Motion Picture right now. Invisible Empire, also extremely important. They're free in the documentaries playlist section. Please check that out as well. I've got a couple more questions come in. We'll go into there. And Rockfin especially. Let's see. When you were with We Are Change, soon, hopefully. Why are you avoiding Washington? Too far West Coast. Anything on the West Coast. I'm not. East and West Coast. I'm staying away from water. All those states, too much of a lockdown for me. I'm so fed up with New York also, Jason. Yeah, I got to get out of there. If you want to laugh, hit up my channel and check out Face Mask video, please. Okay, Media Bear, we'll see. Antifa, I don't know. Like, why would you write Antifa? What's that mean? So again, documentaries are free. Make sure you're subscribed, thumbs up, etc., etc. And remember, we're battling the censors here on YouTube, and that's why we've got the Rockfin. 5 exclusives a week over on Rockfin as well. And you can follow me for free, create a free account. And remember, I live stream from Rockfin noon Tuesdays for free. Guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all on the flip side.